Alrighty, welcome to our first solo episode here in After Hours Buzz. This is our 11th episode, so I feel like it's really ironic because my favorite number is 11, so I feel like that just plays off of it needing to be a solo episode. Today, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to do a Wine Down Wednesday. Everyone who knows me knows I love my wine, and I'm not really picky about one wine or another wine. I will drink reds. I will drink rosés. I will drink any champagne that you put in front of me most of the time. So today we're going to highlight the red wine I'm drinking right now. It is called Canvasback. So you can see it right here. I was telling Andrew, so Andrew's behind the scenes, always helping me. So you'll probably see him here and there, but he's always helping me with audio, video, making sure that the podcast can come to life. So we are drinking that today. But I was telling him I had a special story about this one. So I'm going to share that, and we'll either cut this and put it in the back, or we'll keep it here. But I was traveling a couple weeks ago, and when you get to the airport, you know you're never going to get the best red wine. And I sat down at the bar. I actually, for the first time, went to a wine bar in the airport. I'm sure many people have gone to it. It's called Vino. And I just said, whatever red you have open, I'll take a glass of. She gives me Canvasback, and I take a sip. I was like, this is the best red wine I think I've had in a long time, which is unique for me because I love red wine, but not some that just hit you and you're like, I need to drink this all the time. So I ended up looking it up once I flew back and landed in Orlando. Couldn't find it anywhere. They said that they had it at Total Wine. I went to 3 different Total Wines before I could find it, and there were 4 bottles. So this is one of the 4 bottles that I left there. But first, cheers. Cheers, Andrew.
Cheers.
And cheers to listeners for Wine Wednesday, so you could drink along. Canvasback also is from Washington, which is unique. I feel like I'm not always a huge fan of Washington wine, but it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. Very delicious. Has a cute little red duck on the front too. And it's just so smooth. What would you say, Andrew, about it?
That is definitely wine.
Oh, yep. Just as good as it was at the airport. All right. Today we have a big topic. In the digital marketing world, everything is always ever changing. And I actually love when big changes happen because people are always asking you, what are the big changes going on? What could they possibly be? And now we finally have an answer. So the big update is Meta's platform update, which is Andromeda. Why is this such a big update?
Why?
Well, it's actually Meta's biggest platform update since 2019 when iOS 14.5 was announced and rolled out. Backtracking a little bit, Meta actually told us about Andromeda's update in December of 2024. There was an article that was released. We'll link it here, and maybe we'll show you a little bit of it. Very technical. But usually when there's an update announced, we know it's going to take some time to really roll out. So December 2024, we get a message saying, hey, we're going to update the platform. But not until April of 2024, changes actually start rolling out. And very unique. As Meta is rolling out Andromeda, they're actually changing the whole entire engine of the ad platform while people are still using it. So you're slowly seeing changes. As advertisers, this is extremely important because our clients are wondering, why are these up and down changes? Our paid media buyers are also wondering, why the heck of our campaigns I've been doing so well are witnessing sudden drops? What could possibly be going on? But why is this such big news right now? Everything officially moved over in August and September to Andromeda. So the whole platform has officially been updated and your campaigns are not the same as they were before. So I'm sure if you are in the Facebook advertising realm, in the Meta advertising realm, you've seen September hits and clients are wondering what is going on. You are wondering what's going on. So let's dive a little bit into this. So first and foremost, the most important thing that you're going to need to know is what is Andromeda. So I'm going to read so I don't mess up anything that I beautifully wrote here on my notes. Meta's new Andromeda update is the backbone of its smarter AI-driven ad system. It's built to understand not just who your audience is, but what kind of ad they will resonate most with, helping brands reach the right people with the right message faster and more efficiently. So naturally, we're living in the world of AI. So this is going to be the additional way that Meta is really bringing in AI to feed that information to people. another important area that I want to speak about. So technically, Andromeda is Meta's new ad retrieval system. In the past, Meta would scan a few hundred ads, then choose what ones to show to a user. Now it scans through thousands, if not tens of thousands of ads using sequence learning. So sequence learning is something that you're going to consistently see if you're researching the Andromeda update. Sequence learning is ultimately not just showing you what you're interested in today. Maybe I started liking a couple carousels today, but yesterday and the last week, I was researching a ton of different demos on a SaaS product. And as I was researching them, maybe I was liking them, maybe I was going to the landing page, maybe I was just watching them more. It's going to start showing me different demo videos. So it really is looking at what type of content were you researching, and even further than that, in what format, and then feeding that to you right now. So at the end of the day, you're going to get content based on how you want to receive it and based on the topic that you're really looking at this time. And that's how it's going to start feeding ads to people. Let's jump into some other areas. John Loomer is the Facebook advertiser that advertisers go to learn. So when Meta was coming out with Andromeda, he was the first to start speaking about it, first to really just break down the article that was very technical and put it into this is what you can expect. So a lot of people have used that as a building block, tested it, but from John Loomer's blog, that is very, very valuable. And again, a lot of the things will speak the same language when you're researching, but at the same time have the same results and data to back it up. So again, very, very new, relevant information, all based on what advertisers are currently seeing. And some things that he said that's extremely important to this conversation. So Meta quietly rebuilt the entire ad platform from the ground up. Most advertisers really had no idea what hit them. The truth is that the official documentation about Meta's Andromeda is convoluted and technical, but it would be a mistake to dismiss what Andromeda means for the present and future of Meta advertising. So huge changes in the platform that we're going to discuss today. We're going to look at a couple different things. One, what are the biggest changes? Two, how do you implement these changes and stay on top of your campaigns so that you're not falling behind, you're not seeing that decline in the amount of leads you're getting, sales you're getting, and again, really making the most of the platform, because the Meta Ads platform is wonderful, but we need to stay on top of these updates. So we're going to go back to my guy, John. So he says the bottom line, right? Andromeda is Meta's new retrieval engine. It takes millions of ads, narrows them to a few thousand candidates, and does so in a way that Meta claims is faster, smarter, and more personal than ever. So at the end of the day, how will this affect all advertisers, including myself and you? First and foremost, every single thing is coming down to creative diversification. Andromeda is going to personalize the delivery of the ad so the right person sees the right variation of the ad. So let's just even bring this down further. So Andromeda is going to reward creative diversity in creative portfolios. That's going to come in many different ways. So normally you would have your ad sets, and then you would choose a couple different copies, and then we'd interchange, okay, what calls to action are we going to use? How are we going to call out our audiences? A lot of the times this was using the AIDA principle in copywriting. That's no longer going to apply in this case because the AI is going to know our audience better than we're kind of putting out there in that ad set and really tailoring it to them. So again, first and foremost, everything is going to come down to creative diversification. We'll break that down even further shortly. Secondly, is with the update, they are pairing sequence learning with Advantage Plus. So normally as an advertiser, you want full control, but we all know as we're using AI, it's getting smarter and smarter and able to make those decisions for us with more accuracy. It's going to be important that we bring this to light because we can't ignore it anymore. It's also going to force you to run your campaigns on autopilot. So keeping that in mind, this is going to make targeting more focused on your ad developments, speaking to the audience, the exact audience that you're serving, not everyone and anyone, but really narrowing it down to that right person at that right time. Everyone's walking different stages of life, right? Everyone has different interests. If I am a brand and I'm advertising to a specific audience, I just got married, so I feel like it's easy to pull examples from this, but when you are first engaged, right, what ads should you be seeing? I should be seeing venue advertisements, makeup artist advertisements, DJ advertisements. At this time, Meta is going to know you just recently got engaged and you need to start finding your vendors, right, in your venue. However, once you're married, and I am married now, I still get a whole bunch of ads for rings. But clearly at this time, I've already gotten a ring. So it's going to be very, very specific where you're at, what's your age, what's your preference. I should be seeing gold rings rather than silver rings because, that's what I'm looking at and that's what I'm interested in. So it's going to be tailored down to exactly what you're looking for and feeding you that information. And third, due to the update, simplifying the account setup and structure is going to be extremely important. So referring back to John, you need a different campaign for each goal, but you may not need more than that. You will rarely need multiple ad sets for targeting purposes, and you'll rarely need multiple ad sets for just targeting. The heavy lifting happens at the ad level. Very different. So normally you either followed an ABO structure or a CBO structure. ABO structures in your campaigns will no longer be existent in the Meta ad side. So if you don't know what an ABO structure is, it's an ad set budget optimization. So all of your budget is set at the ad set level. And that makes sense, right? You have multiple ad sets and you're testing the different budgets for each ad set. And normally with the ad sets, you knew that Meta would usually put most of your budget towards one or two ads. Again, that's not going to be the case anymore with these changes. On a CBO strategy, a campaign budget optimization, CBO is campaign budget optimization. That's where we're going to be looking at today with the changes focused on the campaign budget, because now, again, Andromeda and Meta is going to decide where our ad spend goes. And we're going to discuss that a little bit further. So again, back to the bottom line, your time should really be spent on creating diverse, thoughtful ads, campaign construction, making it simple, while your creative strategy really gets deeper, because it's all going to depend on your creative and where that goes to the right audience. So let's break this down even further. So I want to talk about creative diversification first, because this is something that I think naturally you see if you're on your social platforms. If you really start watching reels, you're going to see more reels about that topic on an organic level. This is really going to be focused on the ad level as well now. So it's something that I would say if you start seeing it on an organic level, more than likely they're going to start adapting it in different ways. On creative diversification, as I was mentioning, creative diversification is not having what we used to, 3 still images. Each still image has a different call to action. Book now, learn more, or even a different headline. We're talking completely different concepts. So I'm going to break these down in 3 different areas for you guys. First is the content and the angles. That's going to be our first area of creative diversification. This could be problem and solution ads, case studies, founder stories, UGC content, user-generated content, testimonials, demos. So again, totally different concepts and angles that you're going to be pitching on. Second is formats. So when we're looking at formats, you have long form video, you have short form video, you have carousels, and you have static. So now making those concepts in those different formats. And then lastly is personas. So again, that's speaking to your different customer types. So whether we're looking at people in Orlando, let's say you have a service base in Orlando, maybe you're looking for young audiences in Orlando, you're looking for young professionals in Orlando that maybe just got their first job and moved into their first apartment, or you're looking for more luxurious audience who is 40 plus, right? Really looking at who are your personas that you're serving, because within your concept and your format, all of that should be speaking to those multiple audiences. It's not, and it's really never been, if you're advertising by best practices, a one size fits all approach. But now it's really more than ever, different creative concepts, really speaking to that exact persona in there, and then making sure that you're applying it in different formats. So Meta's going to do the heavy lifting and attach that specific persona with the specific format they like to see it, and the specific type of content or concept that they're interested in learning about, and feed that to them faster than ever. The second important area of this naturally will be account structure. So this is also going to dramatically change from best practices, what we're used to seeing, and why you may see some of your clients or campaigns are just not performing to the level that they used to. The winning formula now, what we're looking at is 1 campaign per objective, per front end offer, adding in broad targeting because of that Advantage Plus and as much creative variety as possible, as you've already heard me harp on and harp on. So very important when we're looking at the campaign structure setup, and we'll drop kind of an image of what this looks like here. But for every campaign, you're going to have one ad set. Before, we used to have campaign, multiple ad sets, multiple ads for those ad sets. Now with Andromeda, that no longer makes sense. And in order to use the AI learning the most effectively and to scale the most quickly, this is what you're going to be wanting to focus on. One campaign, one ad set, and then having 10 to 50 different ad concepts within that one ad set. Let's back up a little. This used to be 3 to 6 per ad asset. So now it's completely changed, looking at having one set and then having, usually for most people based on budget, you're having 2 to 3 different ads per ad set. Now we need 10 to 50. So it's a huge variety. Meta actually recommends having 20 new ad concepts or creative ad assets per week. That's totaling up to 80 per month. That is a ton of creative, more than ever. And again, as I've mentioned, I think that this really just goes along with how people research, how people want to learn. Everything is going to creative. So very, very important with that. So previously, when we were looking at targeting, a lot of that is going to change as well with Advantage Plus. So with Advantage Plus, we no longer want to be so focused on interest-based targeting and lookalike audiences. I predict both of those actually going away because of the AI learning. All right, so let's go back to the winning formula. As we shared, one campaign per objective. We already crossed that off. We know kind of that plan there per front-end offer. Now let's go into that broad targeting side. So naturally with Advantage Plus, they're gonna want us to push to that AI learning. This is really gonna change our campaign structures as well. With one ad set, you no longer have top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel targeting. So in order to use the AI platform to the best of its ability, you want it to learn the fastest as possible. So Andromeda is actually gonna know, based on your audience, where they're at in top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel to feed them the right ad campaign concept. Super important. When we're looking at setting up campaigns, you won't have that top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom anymore. It will be all under one ad set. And then again, you let the machine do the work. On another level, when we're looking at the ad set level, we're going to want to keep that broad as well. So as I mentioned, I truly believe lookalike audiences, and when we're really looking into our interest-based targeting, both of those will go away. We're going to want to keep it broad. We're going to want to let the machine do its thing, but we will want to start maybe adding in a couple small features that help gear the tracks, that being maybe a minimum age, right? So let's say your audience is at minimum age 25, you can add that in there. And you can also add a value role if you want to. So if you know maybe an audience 65 and plus really is not your right fit, you can say, decrease the bids by 90% to that specific audience, whether it's based on gender, location, demographics. But again, you're going to want to keep it broad to let it do its learning, because it's going to optimize for the best performance because of that. So those are going to be some of the main updates we see with Andromeda right now from an advertiser level. But just to do a quick recap, what to do moving forward as we adapt to this new change. First and foremost, really start consolidating your campaigns. What you are doing in 2023, 2024, the beginning of 2025 is not going to be working. You are going to see those decreases. You are not going to get the same success that you once did, because naturally the platform is going to push us here. So the sooner we learn it and adapt to it and you scale your campaigns, you know the best actions moving forward. So again, consolidate those campaigns, keep them to the campaign level, one ad set, and then focused on creative variety. At this point, what we're recommending, stick to CBO campaigns. Let's let go of those ABO campaigns, focus on broad targeting, and then really focus on that creative diversity. Second here is even go back through your creative archive. Use different assets, whether it's organic video and still images and case studies, anything that's really worked on the organic level, and you can repurpose that into the ad side just so that you are using different creative assets that gets you to the level that you need to be at in order to make this account structure really feasible. 10 to 50 ads is a lot of ad creation, especially when you're looking at video and carousels. It's not just a static image, and especially with the actual ideal of getting to 80. So the more you repurpose at this stage, the more efficient you're going to be. And you're also scaling things that you know worked on an organic level that you can implement quickly. Third here is making sure moving forward, you're not always relying on what's in the past. So learn from what's worked, but keep creating more content. With that being said, I recommend creating a content schedule so that you're not falling behind. Like I shared, it's a lot of different ads, but it's going to get you to that end goal a lot faster. So the more we focus on those creative concepts, formats, the better success you're going to have. And lastly here is I wouldn't say on the paid media side, just let all the automation do its work, right? There's a lot of different case studies and examples from clients in different industries that have done the practices, but the back end sometimes won't match. So for example, there's a great case study out there by Smart Marketer where they had an e-commerce client kind of come in, everything's running great, they're getting great return on ad spend. And what they ended up finding from the back end of Shopify was a lot of those purchases for the return on ad spend were current clients. So at that point, the whole reason we're really targeting on Facebook is to ensure, well, I should say Meta, is to ensure that we're getting new prospecting sales. At that point, you're able to go back into the platform and add in no retargeting, right? Don't be feeding my ad to anyone who's come to our website. So you can just go back in there and say, exclude past website visitors, exclude current customers. So again, you're back on the tracks. So you still need a paid media specialist to be focused in ensuring that you're getting the exact results that you want. Because as we know, the platform can say one thing while your back end of your actual goals can say something else. So again, always important that we look at that. But again, just to look forward, the future truly is your creative portfolios, diversifying that content. I'll say it over and over again, consolidating those campaigns, making them more broad, allowing the new updates to really do the work that it's meant to do. And at the end of the day, feeding the machine learning algorithm. Thank you for listening in. I hope you guys found this helpful. Please let us know and drop any comments below on what you're witnessing with the most recent Andromeda updates. If you're witnessing decreases in your return on ad spend on Meta at this time, if you feel like your campaigns just aren't living up to the potential that they used to, feel free to adjust and make some changes that you found here in our conversation. If you find that you're still lost, we're here for you. We do have a free strategy session. So at any time, we're happy to hop in, take a look at your campaigns, provide actionable insights on ways that you could use the algorithm and the updates in Meta to ensure you're still finding the success that you once were, and hopefully even better. Thank you so much and enjoy your Wind Down Wednesday. Cheers.